Hello, this is Liz. Welcome to Fabric Friday. These are some fabric boxes, if you like. This one here, full of my junk, is the first one I made, and it's downstairs on my little table because when I come upstairs to sew, Mason sometimes gets either my nail file or one of the other things are in here. So if I haven't moved them out of the way, he gets them. So every time I'm coming to sew, I'm searching around for all of them. They're all in one container, so I just move that to where he can't get it and I'm safe. So that was the first one I made. These are the next two I've made. They're all with scraps. This one is scraps of some things I've made for my mother, and I press it out. I didn't press the first one, but I pressed this one out, and this one is made from scraps of the quilt I made for my brother last year, and I pressed that one out a bit, but they turned up lovely. Now these three were made from 10-inch squares. Now I'm trying out a slightly smaller size. I mean, the inspiration for these I've got on various channels on YouTube, but this is a 9.5-inch square of fabric, and this again is what I used in my brother's quilt. To that I fuse on some iron-on interfacing that's fairly thick. Didn't catch the colour too well, I'll have to redo that. But I cut the interfacing to 8.5 so that it'll allow me to do a seam and create less bulk for me to turn. I also have some scraps of wadding batting, all at 9 inches. Well, there's two of them there, and the lining fabric, two of them at 9 inches. So after you iron on your interfacing, just put down your wadding, put a couple of 3 pins in, it doesn't matter, and turn it over and Freemason quilt on there, or just do straight lines, and that's what I'm going to do. I don't fancy firking around with my machine, so I'm going to do some straight line quilting on there, and then I'll come back to you. I've just done straight line stitching down the middle to just basically hold the wadding batting to them. Now I'll show you on the line. You want to sew right sides together, down one side, across the bottom, and then up the other side. On the lining you do exactly the same, but you leave a little turning hole, and it is little on this one. You see, little turning hole. Now for these, both the lining and the exterior, you need to do box corners. Now I did an inch box corner on these, but I'm going to do about 1.5 inches. So you're basically pulling it so it's a triangle to the corner. And have I got a little... No, I haven't. I'll do that again. On the liner and the outside. You want to put your hand in, take one of your fingers that go right to the end, the corner, grab it and flatten it out. And you want to make sure that this bottom seam line and your side seam line are matching. And then basically where the corner is, no, I think I'll do inch and a half. I'll do an inch and a half. So from your seam line, your sewing line, measure up an inch and a half and mark it there. If you don't want to mark, you can always put pins in. Show you that again. End to the bottom, finger to the end, press the two together, and that'll help it to turn into a triangular point, and then just scooch it whichever side you need to scooch it to get the centre bottom and your side seam lined up. Put it down on the surface, get your little ruler, find the inch and a half from your stitch line, the intersection anyway, and draw or pin. And you do that to the lining, and you stitch the outers together, but you stitch all the way across the bottom, you don't leave an opening, and box those corners off and stitch them, and I'll show you when we're there. Now box the corners, you can trim those if you want to. I don't think it's necessary. For the lining, you turn that so it's right side out. Fluff everywhere. And you can see how it gives you a nice corner, box corner. And on the other side, edges again. Leave your bag with the right side into it, and then I like to use clips rather than pins for this next step. You've got your lining, right side is out, just push that down inside. Get two of your side seams, match them up, and pin, or in my case clip. Go to the other side and do the same again. On this side. I have been using 1/4 inch seam allowance throughout, but on this topic I will do a bit more than that, about 1/2 inch, and then just put clips around it. So it holds it all in place for you while you take it to the sewing machine. Now if you want to take the end off your sewing machine to make it a free arm, by all means do that. I don't bother. I'm that used to a flat base, I just put it on like that. So all the way around. When you've sewn all the way around, you can then put your hand inside and pet out turn it all to the right side, but I'll show you that in a minute. Right, I don't know if you'll make out the stitches. I've sewn all the way around the top edge and overlapped where I started. So it's now pull the lining out and pull the bag through the lining, which takes quite a while. Because it is very fiddly. But I'm trying to get one corner through. When you get one corner through, it normally flies through. But it's just getting that first corner through. But I haven't cut that thread. That's it. Make it easier. Sorry about that, but that thread is holding it. That's it. I would ordinarily cut it, but I haven't got any scissors handy. They're all the way across the other side of the room. And you just slowly pulling it down. And you see it's coming out. That's it. Like I said, once you get one corner through, it just flies through. And make sure your lining is right. Now get wherever you use for turning things and pointing your corners out. So standing you might see a bit better. That's a box corner and pushing out here. Box corner in the lining, turn it round and do the other side. Now deep dive into the corner and push that out as well, so it makes a lovely box corner. You can see that. Last corner. Come out. Like I said, it is a bit fiddly, but totally doable. Just takes time. And that's it now. We'll take it back to the sewing machine, fold in this turning hole and just stitch it down. You can hand stitch it if you want. It's going on the inside, I aren't bothering. And then tuck it back inside. Make sure that your seam is matching on the edge and top stitch it all the way around. It looks like I've already done it because I've got a stitch from the quilting. Never mind, I'll go over that now. And here we have it. I've given it a press to actually make the corners stand out a lot better. You don't have to, I didn't on the first one. But then you have to decide, do you want a cuff on it or do you want it like that? You can have it like that and contain tall objects, or as I've done with the others, you can fold them down. How far you want to fold them down is entirely up to you, but I quite like that. And some of the things I have, there are, you can put in what you want. And this is a 9-inch square, and the others were 10-inch squares. You can do it, I wouldn't go that much bigger than about 12-inch squares because it's just going to be far too big and cumbersome. But they're ideal little gifts, and as I say, I've gone nuts making them. So you can see this one is, although it was only an inch smaller in fabric, it makes a difference to the size of it. You can also put, and we did 1.5 inches for the box corners. You can do 2 inches to make it wider at the bottom, but that will also make it a bit lower. But play around with it. They're fun, easy, quick things to do. This one, including filming, take me about an hour and a half. Getting up and filming and getting up and pressing it and that. But nice little gift. Thank you. Bye.